Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to today's Reddit Quickie from the subreddit HFY, called Some Lost Words Aren't. Written by Regal Legal. The link to the original will be down below, and as always, I hope that you enjoy. Captain Xavier Blood-Eyed Tetch, you have been tried and found guilty of the following crimes: piracy in the first degree, murder in the first degree, destruction of national treasures, grand theft, spaceship, armed robbery, kidnapping, and public drunkenness and indecency. You have been sentenced to hang by the neck until dead. Do you have any lost words? The large human seemed unusually subdued as he stood at a raised platform in Lactac City. His hands were bound behind his back, and while he had been disarmed, they left him with his crimson coat and hat so that the crowds could see there was truly the dreaded pirate. His shoulders were slumped as his head lowered, but at the request of the lost words, he muttered something. The grinning Lackat judge stepped closer then, obviously excited to be ridding the galaxy of the pirate. What was that? The blue-skinned Xena asked as he stepped closer. His clothes, as well as tailored and fancy as one would expect from a Lackat judge. His perfectly shined wig balanced on the otherwise smooth head. Is the dreaded pirate finally understanding his place before his execution? Stepping forward, the Xena got close to the human so that he could hear his final words. But when he leaned in close, Tetch whispered out, "Always time to draw more blood." Then, in a flash, he pulled his head back and slammed it forward into the Xeno's nose. There was a crunch, just as the judge staggered back and gasped, green blood dripping from the very broken nose. The human stood straight then, a good head taller than the Xeno guards who pulled him back. "You know what I have to say to the lot of you," he called out, voice booming as around the square. "You've got crap for treasure. I killed your stupid little glove tree years ago, and you're still annoyed. Get over it. How many of you have truly lived? You all live in safety and boredom. You string your lives along from day to day, working and slaving away for crap that you don't need and debt you tell yourself was unavoidable. I've killed more than everyone here put together, and I still have people from all corners of the galaxy flock to my flag because they want a chance to really live. To loot, to plunder, to pillage, and then spend all that they've got on whores and rum until we head out and do it again. You can try to kill my mortal body, but my legend will never die." With that, he tossed his head back, letting out a deep laugh that filled the square as he murmured and muttered at this display. Noted. A Lackat stepped forward then, his fancy gold-trimmed cloak, coat, and wig making it clear that he was the magistrate and not just a simple judge. "But we will settle for killing your mortal body." With a nod, the guards they struggled to push him forward, having to repeatedly shock him with the batons as he growled and struggled, but was finally pushed into position beneath the noose. One of the guards had to stand on the step just to reach up and get the noose around Tetch's neck. But then Tetch kicked the stool out from under the guard, making the Xeno stumble and fall to the platform. Even as the guard shocked the pirate again, for his resistance, the human let out another deep laugh. He clearly had no concept of going down easy. "Know this?" he called out, ignoring the shocks, it seemed. "The crew has vacancies. We know no species, no religion, no prejudice. Most of all, no debt. Any of you are welcome, but you must pull your weight or be tossed out of the airlock. If you want to live, then seek me out." "That's quite enough of that," the magistrate hissed, and then as he approached the human, ignoring the pirate's glares and growls, "You have a noose around your neck, and you act as if you're going to escape. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but you're going to die here today, pirate, and the birds will peck out your eyes in a few days." Tetch just laughed at that, which made the magistrate scowl. "You humans may be hard to kill, but being hung by the neck until you're dead works on you just fine." "Oh, some of us sure, but I'm afraid that a few of us will simply refuse to die," Tetch replied, staring down at the fancily dressed Xeno before him. "You're simply delusional, human," the magistrate hissed. "Your crew abandon you at the first chance. When you rule by fear, they have no loyalty, only your ability to harm them. And You can't harm anyone now, can you? You think I rule by fear? You have no idea how I work then, Tetch chuckled. I treat me lads well. I surely do, lads, lasses, assorted, what have you. If your crew, your family, sure, we try to stab each other in the back from time to time, but treasure does funny things to a pirate's brain. He shrugged. It's all part of the fun. He grinned wide, then showing off his pearly whites plus one gleaming gold tooth. Do you have any actual last words? The magistrate finally asked. Your best hope is that the drop breaks my neck in the fall, Tetch said simply. Oh, but it won't. We've gone through great lengths to ensure that you'll hang and kick and struggle as your face turns purple, your eyes pop out of your skull, and you suffocate as the flames of your hell lap at your feet. The magistrate hissed out, and then Tetch just laughed at Zeno's face. But a spit splattering against the otherwise pristine blue face. The magistrate let out a disgusted gasp and sat back, pulling a silk handkerchief from his pocket to wipe his face clean. You're a fool, then, for these won't be my last words. The blood-red cybernetic eye on Tetch's gleamed down at the magistrate, who just looked over and nodded to the guard at the side of the platform. The others stepped away from the trapdoor at Tetch's stood stall, head held high as he waited. The magistrate nodded once more, and the lever was pulled. The trapdoor dropping out from under his feet, he plunged down through the opening then. The rope snapped tight as he jerked into the air. He gasped out and growled, kicked as his neck felt pressure of the rope starting to dig in into his flesh. The square was silent, aside from the human's grunts and growls as he kicked in the air, struggling and squirming. The magistrate allowed himself a grin at a job finally done. But that's when a shot rang out through the air and the rope snapped. The crowd began to scream and scatter as the guards rushed towards the trapdoor, but Tetch was already moving. The moment his boots hit the ground, he was running forward. One of the guards beneath the platform was hastily trying to pull his pistol free, but Tetch chucked his head down and slammed into the Xeno's chest, smashing him against one of the platform's posts. There were more shots ringing out amidst the screaming and chaos as Tetch quickly pressed the button on the side of his mechanical hand to make it simply pop off. As it clattered to the stones, he brought up his other hand, the bindings now useless. There was a cluster of black cat guards ahead of him, some firing out into the crowd and some turning to look his way. He just grinned wide and crouched down, opening up a compartment in his mechanical leg to pull out a canister free, which he tossed at the feet of the Lackat guards at the front of the platform. There was a flash as clouds of smoke began to pour forth, causing them to cough to try and cover their mouths. That gave the pirate time to grab his mechanical hand and quickly shoving it back into place on his arm as he rushed forward. Grabbing the nearest guard, he pulled the Lackat over his head, throwing him into the other guards into the smoke, his red cybernetic eye seeing through the clouds easily. Rushing out into the scattered and screaming crowd, he shoved his way through the running civilians to the edge of the square where a figure was waving at him. "Higgs!" he called out, slapping his trusty first mate on the back, making the colourful parrot-like Zeno stagger forward. "Did it go as planned?" "Mostly, sir. Should we get out of here?" he asked, handing over Tetch's prized pistols. The human let out a hearty laugh as he once more had Athena and Aphrodite in his hands. The Lackat guards were finally starting to figure out what was going on in the square as the magistrate started shouting at them to start shooting and ignore the crowd. "Good idea," Tetch muttered, and ran on with Higgs by his side. Other members of the crew were retreating from the places around the square to join them as they ran through the cobblestone streets of Lackat City. There was another group of pirates waiting ahead of them outside of an old and well-known Lackat building. One of his shuttles hovered over it, and a cable reaching in through the front door into the structure. "Higgs, this was your plan, so you do the honors." The parrot blinked at this before grinning as well as the Xeno could. "Oh, thank you, sir." He pulled the radio from his belt then. "We're all set, let her rip." The shuttle began to pull up, and then, as it was crashing, crunching sound coming from inside the building, before a giant metal vault wrapped in a specially made cargo net was yanked free of the building, smashing through the front of it. In the distance, Tetch could hear the sounds of boots and cobblestone, as no doubt the guards chased after them, so he jumped onto the cargo net, clinging to it with the rest of his crew followed suit. He laughed heartily as they were hoisted up into the air then, him and his crew clinging and dangling vault for dear life as they flew over the tops of the ancient and picturesque lacquered houses of the old city. A fine plan indeed. Now, you said things mostly went as planned, Hicks. Did you wipe out the servers? He asked as they both dangled from the cargo netting, flying through the air. Yes, sir. Wiped clean all the debt they had on record. The Xeno nodded. Well, then obviously we have the vault, so, what's different? Tetch asked. We found a whole suitcase of this stuff. Hicks carefully wrapped one arm in the netting as he used the other to pull a small plastic bag from one of his pockets, filled with white powder. As he handed it to Xavier, the human pirate grinned wide. He knew what it was right away, but he opened up his jacket with his free hand to be extra sure. When he took a sniff of the powder, he laughed deeply, hanging off the netting with one of his mechanical arm. The finest Colombian cocaine, he shouted. It's not jewels and gold, but cash and coke will do just fine. It's a wonderful life to be a pirate sometimes, Higgs. Now, let's get back to the ship, burn our engines to Nuevo Cuba, and have a great party. Coke, coffee, and chocolates, Higgs. The treasures and the new world gave birth to pirates, and now they just make sure humans throw the best wrecking parties. The humans' laugh echoed through the city as he and his crew clung to the vault. They might be bloodthirsty criminals, but clearly they had a good time doing it. And if one thing was certain to the Lacat after all of this, there was a reason people kept becoming pirates. If not for the adventure and freedom, then certainly for the parties. And that, my friends, is the end of this Reddit Quickie. I hope that you enjoyed. If you'd like to support the channel or the author, all the stuff is down below. And as always, I hope that you guys have a good one, and I'll see you in the next story. Cheers.